Let's talk about Hitler.
That'll make sense later.
I'm immaculately conceived.
I don't know what to do.
I swear I'm not stupid.
Take it or leave it. Sometimes you just want to leave it.
If I gotta borrow my mom's underwear, I'm borrowing her underwear.
You just, yeah.
Misa likes the Jar Jar Binks.
I'm not gonna edit it out.
Oh no.
I don't know. Like, I think it was pretty great. Just staying on the
Sucks to
planet.
suck.
Why are you saying it with a question mark?
Clap, bitch.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Action.
And we're live. I'm Anna.
And I'm Jessica.
And this is Why Are You Yelling? Welcome back to another F1 race review. Today we are talking about round 16 of the 2025 Formula One season, the Pirelli Grand Premio d'Italia at the Autodromo Nazionale Monza.
Woo-hoo!
Got through that.
She did it.
Overall thoughts of this race?
First of all, I contemplated going and buying some clown costumes from Spirit Halloween because I was like, Lewis Hamilton's gonna win.
He did okay.
He did good.
He made it some places.
Yeah.
He was feeling himself at the track, you know.
Yeah, you know.
He was like, good pit stop, boys.
Yeah,
like,
he was all like good attitude, excited, whatever. And I was like, okay. But, you know, I'm not mad at all because...
Did he get the memo that everyone was like, you're being a little Debbie Downer. I need you to pick up that attitude a little bit, sir.
Maybe. He may have just been afraid, like, I don't want to be attacked.
I have to be nice while we're in Italy.
Yeah. So, yeah, I was super happy because I'm going to get into the race podium.
Mm-hmm.
And our winner is a Max Verstappen.
Do.
Yes. And then followed by Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri.
Let's go.
Yeah, I definitely think this felt like last year's Red Bull situation or like earlier in the year. I just am like, he was like 17 seconds ahead of everybody.
He was killing. Like, Max was on another planet this weekend. Like, we're setting records, qualifying records. We're setting fastest race, full race time completion records.
I was sitting here like, that should be McLaren, arguably, with having the best car. So obviously, at this point in time, you know what I never in my life want to hear again? It's the car. It's the car. Because you know what, babe? You can put... What I mean to say is you can't just put any driver in the best car in the world and they're going to be the best.
Because Max Verstappen is going to be on their ass.
Because Max Verstappen is arguably the best in the world and is not in the best car. There he is.
Mm-hmm.
In your mirror, giving you nightmares.
I think Max is just so fearless about like attacking the track in terms of like identifying where he can make improvements.
Yeah.
And he just like the latest on the brakes all the time. And he's not afraid to make the move and go for it and just commit to it because he trusts himself.
You know, another driver who's known to be very late on the brakes, who is also a world champion, is our other fave, Lewis Hamilton. That is something I saw Charles said maybe a month or so ago, where he was like, he was comparing their data, and he's like, Lewis is like the teammate he's had that he's like, he just is so late on the brakes. And I'm like, that's how they're made. They're built different.
Mm-hmm.
But so our constructor standings, nothing's changed. Literally nada. So McLaren is still leading and Ferrari, Mercedes, so on and so forth. We did have some changes in the driver standings, though. We had Alex Albon. He went from 8th to 7th.
Let's go.
Isaac Hadjar went from 10th to 9th.
Fun.
And Gabriel Bortoleto went from 18th to 16th.
Okay.
So we had 2 rookies move up. And then Alex he's like, I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm here. I expected more from Williams this weekend, but I know we'll get into that.
Yeah.
I was ready. Oh, we talked about last time how we were just like, we forgot everything. I was ready this weekend. I was up. I had my hat. I was like, let's go.
You were prepared. You weren't
prepared.
sleepy.
Nope. I was awake. And then I was just trying to get everything set up. I was just very excited. I was like, okay, we're back.
Yeah.
We're back. I just needed a reset.
I was excited for this race, too, this morning. I also woke up and was like, I'm ready. Let's go. I even sent you a video of me looking very disheveled waiting for my coffee to finish brewing. And I was like, I think I referenced is it Kevin James?
Yes.
Is that the guy's name?
Yes.
So the actor from King of Queens, there's a very iconic video of him at, I believe it's a NASCAR race, where he says, gentlemen, start your engines. He's very
it.
dramatic with it and like
Love.
over the top, and it's so good.
I love it.
And I did an impression of that for you.
Yeah.
And
I
I
enjoyed it.
I was feeling it. So I was very excited about this race. And it was really exciting at the beginning. And then it was a little sleepy time, a little bit of a snoozer in the like middle, the first half. I would say like maybe within 15, 20 laps of the first half. Like that, it was,
Yeah.
But then it got kind of interesting again.
Yeah, the midfield was trying to keep it interesting too. It was just, yeah, I enjoyed it. And you know, Max Qual, he got pole, and I was like, yes. And then I expected him to put up a fight. I didn't expect him to keep it. Which I was kind of going off last weekend, you know? And so seeing him just be like, peace out, I was like,
Well, I do know they were saying that this is a low downforce track.
Yeah.
And McLaren has been very strong at all the high downforce tracks. And so for whatever reason, this weekend, they just did not have the speed on the straights to really, which is interesting because they've had the speed on other tracks on the straights to overtake. So I don't know, but they just couldn't keep up with Max. Or, really if they made a move trying to keep it and stuff like that. Like there was not just a battle between Max and Lando trading places at first and second the first couple laps, but then we also had Oscar and Charles. Oscar was like, I'm not letting this go. Like, I'm going to fight you. They was like swapping places every other second. You're just like, ah.
Yeah, I expected more from Charles once that happened. And then it kind of just fell apart. I mean, he kind of just at that point that was pretty much the most exciting part of his race.
He just didn't have he didn't have the speed to keep up with the McLarens. And so he was putting up a fight initially where he could. And then he wasn't able to do much after that.
So yeah, well, it's time for your favorite part.
Fun facts. I love my fun facts. So this was the fastest World Championship Grand Prix in F1 history, which I previously mentioned. That's the record that Max set. So it is subject to final results confirmation. But Max Verstappen won with an average speed of 250.706 kilometers per hour, which is roughly 155.791 miles per hour. That was his average speed. An average speed of 155 miles an hour. Do you know how fast you have to be going?
155 miles per hour.
Roughly on average throughout the whole
Do you know how
race.
fast you have to go to 155 miles per hour? Oh my gosh.
Meaning,
I know.
like there's certain, because there's certain tracks where you can see like on the straights, if they're going as fast as they can, even with DRS, they might get up to close to 200 miles an hour. But then sometimes when they're breaking into these corners, they're going all the way down to, 60, 50, 40 miles an hour, depending on the track and everything. So like keeping that kind of stuff in mind and in perspective, there's a reason they call Monza the Temple of Speed.
Yeah, it's the fastest track on the calendar.
Like overall, over the whole lap.
Yeah.
You're not slowing down that much.
No, I mean 80% of the lap you're at full throttle.
Yeah.
So
it was nuts. So the total race time was 1 hour, 13 minutes, 24.325 seconds. And that was set by Max in this race. The previous record for like total race time from lights out to the winner crossing the finish line, the previous record was set at Monza by Michael Schumacher for Ferrari in 2003 at 1 hour, 14 minutes, 19.838 seconds. So Max beat the previous record by almost a minute.
That's crazy.
And this is only the second time the fastest race record has been broken in the last 54 years. So Michael Schumacher broke it in 2003, and then Max Verstappen did it this year. In 2025.
That's insane.
And so Max has won twice in Italy this season. So he previously won at Imola. And it was his third win of the season and his 66th career victory.
Wow.
Yep. It was nice. Like I kind of got a little like
I was happy.
It wasn't emotional, but I was very happy to see Max on the podium because he hasn't been there like all the time. It's like nice when you see it the change up,
Yeah.
It's like even though a couple seasons ago he was just, even last season it was like
get off of there.
It was like, can we get somebody else up there? It's like, no, it's nice to see Max up there. He's so happy when he wins. He's a good celebrator.
Yeah.
Max Verstappen is good at celebrating his wins. He's always so happy. He looks like no matter how hard or easy the win was, he like is always running up to his team and jumping in their arms and like super excited and he's always happy on the podium.
Yeah, and he's a good person to celebrate with, which is what we said last time. And then I had joked when I was like, it's Max and the two McLaren boys who probably aren't that happy. How great is this going to be? And then I'm like, the camera didn't focus that much on the celebration like it did. And I was like, yeah.
Were they bringing the mood down?
A bunch of downers over there.
For real. So this was Max's third Monza win in the last 4 years. And he is the first driver to win from pole at Monza since 2019.
Yeah. Wow.
McLaren's Lando Norris took P2 and has finished second in all of Max Verstappen's Grand Prix victories this year.
It is all three.
Yeah. It is the 7th time he has finished second this season, and he's had 5 wins. So Lando Norris has closed the championship gap to 31 points behind teammate Oscar Piastri.
That was I actually think McLaren did the right thing. I know not everybody, but some people have had some things to say about it. And I was like, no, I mean, I get it. I understand it. I see
the argument either way.
Yeah, I see it either way. I don't think that it was, I think it just is what it is.
It was either Joylin or Juan Pablo that said this on the F1 TV broadcast, but they made the point that it wasn't as if the pit stop was slow because of a mistake that Lando made.
Yeah.
It's not that he overshot or undershot his box. It's not that he made a mistake entering or exiting the pit lane. Yeah. It's not anything he did. It was purely on that one mechanic, and something was going weird with the thing that gets the
drill.
Yeah. Something was going on with that tire and the drill, and that delayed the pit stop. So it's not as if Lando made a mistake.
Yeah.
Which in that case, if he's the one that caused the mistake to then delay the pit stop or cause it to be long, then by all means, like, don't swap places.
Yeah.
But it's an unfortunate incident. It's just unlucky that one member of his pit crew did something wrong and it caused that issue. And it would have been, I think it would be different if, and again, this came up last time in the last race, it would be different if there was a third competitor, that wasn't part of their team fighting in the championship, the drivers' championship battle. Yeah. If Max Verstappen or if it was George Russell or one of the Ferraris were closer in points and making it a 3-way battle, if there was an opponent to McLaren that was in the championship fight, I think it's a different story.
Yeah.
And if one of McLaren's drivers was clearly higher in points, again, they're trying to prioritize making sure that an opponent doesn't get that driver's championship win. McLaren doesn't care which one of the drivers wins the driver's championship. McLaren as a whole is just like, as long as we get one of them. And so, but it's just a different thing when they're getting a 2-3 finish this race either way.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
It's all about what the implications are and their drivers' attitudes leaving this race.
Yeah.
And it's kind of unfortunate because you get Oscar Piastri, who's kind of like, it's not my fault that his pit stop went wonky.
But it also wasn't.
It's not Lando's fault either.
No, but then I do think that
it happens.
It happens, but I think too, Oscar's first win last year, it was the same exact situation or a similar situation, but opposite. And so it's like, you can't forget that.
We had to hearken back to Hungary last year.
Yeah, well, because it was a similar-ish thing where, I mean, granted, it wasn't really that the team, it was just like, a mechanical issue, but either way, I'm like, I
thought we already squared that situation last season when they were like, remember that they did this for you, so you got to do it for them. I thought we equaled it out last season. So why are we still like, remember when this happened? You owe him. And it's like,
I don't know that a situation that's that similar has come up since that one, though. Like, this was like so like not the exact same, but it was practically the same.
But I think and to be fair, last season it was about the win, right? They were racing for the win in both scenarios when it was like give the position back or do it for your teammate, whatever. Yeah. So it's they're racing for the win there. They're racing for P2 and P3. So
well, yeah, but now they're fighting for the driver's championship. Yeah. So now, I mean, it's going to be one of them, and now it's more like, okay, well, I need every single point. So I kind of get where it's like, if I was Lando, I would have been furious. I mean, and he did not say a word.
He was pissed.
That's why I was waiting for some sort of nothing. He didn't say a word.
Well, because you got to imagine he also feels like
he's already screwed because of last race.
Well, even just the case of like, you never want to feel like a win or a position was handed to you in terms of like a technicality or someone moving out of the way. Like, because it doesn't feel like you've really earned it. And it puts a little bit of like a bittersweet. I mean, same thing with, like we said, Oscar and Hungary last year. It was a case of like, there's a bittersweet tinge to it where it's like, I didn't really outright, earn it. But then also, it's just a really crappy situation overall. But my favorite radio of the day was Max.
Oh my God.
After the race, and they were explaining to Max on the radio that the McLaren swap places, and Max just started laughing. And he was like, what, just because he had a slow pit stop, they swapped? Like, Max would never. That could not be him. He's like, if that happened to my teammate, sorry about it. Tough turkey.
I don't know that he knew or I'm sure GP knew, but I mean, first of all, it was just funny how long the messages were. Max is like 17 seconds ahead and he's like, ha ha ha, what? And him and GP are like analyzing it together,
they're
talking
just
smack.
They're having their little girl talk.
And but it's like, it wasn't just a slow like pit stop. It was like literally like, I mean, it was just I guess really it was just a slow pit stop, but it's kind of like, yeah, but it was, like we said, it wasn't anything like Lando actually did, which most of the time it's not really anything the driver does.
Fault.
So that's why, Oscar, he's like, well, I thought, like, pit stop's part of the race, but whatever, I guess. I do think he had, he had more pace, because, I mean, Lando was sort of the better McLaren over the whole weekend anyway. There was enough time there. I mean, they had a few laps, like, 4 or 5 laps at that point. If he had the pace in the car, I mean, he was like only a second and a half at that point. If it could have been.
Lando barely came out behind Oscar, if I remember right, after that pit stop. The slow pit stop was slow by just barely a hair to where he just came out behind Oscar, and that's where you're like, ooh. So, yeah.
But I'm saying Oscar, I mean, at that point, if he was like, he just had more pace, he had a few laps to try to attack. And that's why they were like, you're free to race after you swap. And whether he just was like whatever, or if he tried like I don't know, but yeah, that was a little messy.
I just love Max's sass. I'm like, just because of the slow pit stop, they swap places. He's like, what?
He goes, ew.
Okay, couldn't be me. That just got me so good. I love sassy Max.
I do too.
So speaking of Oscar Piastri, he got P3. That was his lowest finish since Canada, which was 6 races ago.
Wow.
It was his 34th consecutive points finish in a Grand Prix, the third longest in history, behind Max Verstappen with 43 and Lewis Hamilton with 48.
Wow.
The top 3 finished in grid order for the first time at Monza since 2010.
Yeah, I remember they were talking about that.
They made a point on the broadcast that for all the battling at the beginning of the race, we had lots of swapping back and forths and people attacking, and the cars were all so on top of each other for the first several laps. But I think we got like 10 or 15 laps in, and it was the same. The top 5 were in the same order, starting order.
Exactly. And I was like, oh, okay, well, they were all biting, and then that was it.
Yeah, they were kind of like nipping at each other's heels and like kind of back and forth, shuffling around. But yeah. With Charles Leclerc finishing in P4, Ferrari finished 4th at Monza for the 5th consecutive year. So last year it would have been Sainz finishing 4th because Charles Leclerc won it last year.
Yeah, that's right.
Leclerc is the highest driver in the championship without a win this season at 5th. Yeah. Finishing P5 was George Russell driving for Mercedes, and Mercedes finished 5th at Monza for the 3rd year running. So they like that position, I guess.
Yeah, they like it right there.
Yeah. Lewis Hamilton finished P6. It was the lowest Ferrari finish at Monza since 2021 when Carlos Sainz finished in P6.
Yeah, which is like, he did a good job climbing back up. I mean, if he would have been able to like start where he qualified, hopefully, who knows? Maybe he at least could have been P5. Who knows? At least maybe him and Charles. I don't know. But I'm like, he was almost right where he qualified. I mean, so he did fairly well. I mean,
he did what he could do.
Yeah.
And we already spoke a little bit about this earlier, but he just seemed in an overall sort of better mood this weekend. Maybe the break did him good, or he's kind of got his mind a little bit better. Maybe it was all the Ferrari love at Monza. I don't know. He just seemed in a better mood.
I wonder if there's just so much responsibility to feel like, man, like I was hoping I was going to come to this team and we were just going to win. And, finally win something, finally win the constructors or finally win a driver.
Feeling like you're going to make a real difference.
Yeah. And then when you feel like you're not, like maybe you feel like you're failing them. And then I'm like, maybe going to Monza and getting the reception he got where they clearly they just love him. And maybe that just kind of re-energized him to go, okay, it's okay. They're in it for the long haul. Ferrari fans are in it for the long haul.
Oh, yes.
So maybe that just helped him go, okay. I
feel a little more securely attached in this
maybe,
relationship.
Yeah, feel a little more secure. Maybe it's like, okay, I need to be in it for the long haul too. Like, okay.
They don't all hate me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not the devil who came in and ruined the team.
I know.
We were already there, Lewis. It was already a clown car before you showed up. So.
Yeah.
Just come on in. Jump in the car with us.
Come on.
Come along for the ride.
Exactly.
So Alex Albon finished in P7 and has scored at Monza every time he has raced here for Williams.
Good job, Alex.
He moved past Kimi Antonelli and into 7th in the Drivers' Championship, which you mentioned earlier. Williams has scored 86 points this season. They scored 84 points in the previous 7 seasons combined.
Wow.
Yeah, so they scored more points in a single season with Alex Albon and Carlos Sainz than they have in the previous 7 seasons combined.
Though, how long has James Vowles been there? Only like
2 years?
That man's got a plan.
That
is a man with a plan, honey.
He went to the Toto Wolff school of running a Formula One team. So, I mean, he was Toto's like right-hand man.
Yes. And I think he knows like, all right, like I want to be in it for the long haul with my drivers. I think Mercedes is really good at cultivating a positive environment for their drivers, it seems. Well, at least the latter. I can't really speak for, Lewis and Nico in 2016, but, later. And they probably learned a lot from that. I think that's probably another reason maybe they really were like, we're getting a number 1 or a number 2. Because they are like, listen, McLaren, you do you, dog. But when we had 2 number 1s, it wasn't fun.
No.
Not fun.
No.
So.
Yeah, I think that we've talked about this before, I think, but it is very refreshing to see James Vowles, like his commitment to Williams, like that long-term game plan that he has, and to the drivers. Because I think, in the last couple of seasons, we've gotten very used to seeing teams be kind of cavalier with their drivers and swapping them out. It's just a cog in the machine, and they don't really, you don't perform. We're doing the Red Bull style of just like cutthroat with your drivers.
Yeah.
And that can work in certain instances, but I feel like if you're trying to reestablish and build something up, like you can't do it by just trying to swap people out every other time they do something wrong. Like, it's not how you develop a team or like a culture or, people buying into something. Like, you can't do that with like fear of losing your job.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
And so like, it's just really refreshing to see that long-term commitment and like sticking by their drivers. And, I'm a James Vowles supporter. I see the vision. JV, as they say.
Yeah. We got it.
So Kick Sauber's Gabriel Bortoleto took P8 for his fourth points finish in the last 6 Grand Prix.
Yeah, he's done really well. They got that upgrade, and he's able to squeeze something out of it. So
yeah, and this was the best Sauber finish at Monza in the hybrid era.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So again, Gabriel is prodigy, and
we said it's time. You're a prodigy. It's time to start prodigy, and he said, "Okay, yes, ma'am."
He's like, "I got you."
Done.
So yeah, they asked him about his recent string of just success and improvement and stuff, and he said it was down to there was an upgrade they had earlier in the season that really worked, and they said they had one small upgrade after that really helped a lot too, and since then it's just that's where all the progress has come from.
Yeah,
and so it's like, oh, so he's not just a crap driver; it's really the car. It's like, give him a little bit of juice and watch him go.
No, I know. I'm ready to see Hülkenberg more up there too. But yeah, that was good on Gabby.
Kimi Antonelli finished P9 for Mercedes. That was his best result since finishing on the podium in Canada 6 races ago. Kimi has been struggling. We've said, the last several races. I think he could have done more this race, but there was a lot of talk about, obviously he's so young and it's his rookie season and the pressure of this is his second home race of the season. He's from Italy. So feeling some of that pressure. They said it could have gone one of 2 ways. Either being in the home race would have a calming effect on him and like kind of put him in a good zone to like push and achieve more, or it was gonna like just the nerves would be all over the place and he would be like afraid to go for it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, I think he probably could have done a little bit more, was a little hesitant in some places, but overall, I mean, a points finish where he actually finishes the race is good enough.
He crossed the line at P8, but he got that penalty with Alex Albon and then, made him P9. So I'm like, gotta quit with these mistakes, like little tiny mistakes, because they cost you, unless you're, Max Verstappen. Unless you're Max Verstappen, 17 seconds ahead, you keep it tight, But he's a rookie.
Yeah.
He's a baby.
So with P10, Isaac Hadjar scored the first Racing Bulls point at Monza since 2022.
Woohoo!
Yeah, good on Isaac.
He did good.
Yeah, so that is the end of our fun facts.
Really?
Yeah.
Feels shorter.
I know.
Well,
it was shorter. It was only like a page. And most of the fun facts were they scored in this position last time.
Yay.
And they scored in this position this time. Fun.
So something I was actually, okay, so you saw the incident with Carlos Sainz and Behrman, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was surprised Ollie got the penalty. Because when we were watching it, I'm like, what are you doing? So
that was, who was ahead?
Well, Carlos was going to pass Ollie, but they were doing it at that, that chicane. And I just kind of was like, that felt whatever.
I feel like
I thought that was, granted, I'm not a steward, so clearly I just looked at it wrong. Maybe I only saw one angle of it.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I just kind of thought that was, when I saw it, I thought that was Carlos's fault.
Yeah, I mean, if you're the car ahead and they're not alongside, but they have to be alongside your front axle or rear axle, something like that. I forget which it is, but they have to be alongside at a certain position. But I'm always like, well, if you're the car ahead going into the corner, you have the right of way, basically. And the other car, if they...
I hate that rule in a way because I'm like, yeah, but at the same time, there's a car beside you. You know that they're going to have to stop too. And if you don't really even give them you just cut in front of them like that. It's kind of like, yeah, you were ahead by the time you got to the corner, but at the same time, like...
The other car has to back out,
just was like...
And there's always, you have to leave a car's width or whatever, and I'm just like, wow, whatever. So, yeah. I'm not a steward. I don't know.
I don't know. But, yeah.
I'm just a girl. I don't know anything.
I don't even know what we're talking about. So that was something that I was like, oh, okay. And something else that... Okay, did you hear the people boo Lando when he went to the podium?
Mm-mm.
So I thought, like, when we're watching, Lando runs up, I was like, I swear to God, there's some people booing. And then later on social media, people were like, they booed. And I was like, dude, they did.
To be fair, in Italy, it's a sea of red.
I agree, but...
Those big freaking Ferrari flags.
No, but they sang Max's song to him, though.
Ferrari fans hate McLaren. Like, us excluded. But, like, those hardcore Ferrari fans are like, as long as anyone but McLaren wins, they're like,
why do they hate McLaren?
I guess because they're the lead in the constructors, or maybe they're the most direct rival to Ferrari. I don't know.
You're saying, like, this season they hate them?
I guess.
Or overall?
Yeah. I think, I don't know. This was discourse online. I'm, again, not a McLaren hater. I like Oscar and Lando just fine. I think Zach Brown is a great character.
Yeah.
Andrea Stella is fun. I love his accent. So,
all right, Lewis Hamilton. Forza Ferrari. She said Andrea Stella.
Andrea.
Girl, like, when people come back from a vacation from Mexico and they go, Mexico. Okay. How do you say croissant? Like
croissant.
Anyway,
croissant.
Yeah, I don't like that. That's mean.
Yeah, but basically, because the Ferrari
nobody booed
deep.
Oscar when he walked out. Okay,
then I don't know. I'm a Ferrari fan apologist.
Stop being mean. You booing Lando Norris doesn't make Charles or Lewis any higher. It doesn't magically put them on the podium. Don't be ugly. That's it.
Be ugly.
Stop being ugly. Don't do that.
As my mama says, if you ain't got nothing nice to say, shut up.
Yeah.
She says it much nicer than that, but I was paraphrasing.
I like that. Shut up. Dang. Don't be ugly like that. I don't like it. What happened with Hülkenberg?
I don't know.
He just was like, "Are you kidding?"
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
then,
He didn't even start the race.
Yeah.
They were doing like the formation, and there was something going on, and they called him into the
Yeah.
pits. And I think they were gonna try to swap something out and do a pit lane start, but ultimately he just retired the car.
That sucked.
So for Hülkenberg, it says that according to an article on motorsport.com, it says that it was a hydraulic issue with the new Ferrari power unit, and they said that so Nico was supposed to start P12, which, I mean, he was in a good position to get some points for the team.
Yeah.
But that technical issue happened during the formation lap. It was the final fire up on the grid. And they said they tried to do what they could on the grid, but basically they can't really get to the problem to fix it because the cars are so complicated and it's like buried in there.
Yeah.
And that was coming from the team principal, Jonathan Wheatley. But he was basically like, there was not really anything we could do. Technical issue with the power unit, so he had to retire the car, which is really sucky.
Yeah, that sucks.
We didn't really talk about, I'm trying to see who we didn't talk much about. George Russell, kind of an anonymous race.
I was going to say, a lot of the people were kind of anonymous. I mean,
Yuki was trying to make something happen. He started P10, P9, somewhere around there.
I'm not sure. I know he had contact with somebody. Was it Lawson? Oh, Stroll.
Always this guy.
Always this guy. And then it was Stroll and Ocon had a moment together as well.
Yeah, some stuff happened at the back of the grid that didn't really end up mattering much. Franco Colapinto, where has he been all season? What, Franco?
What are you doing,
what's going on, my guy? Come on. I know. Yeah, just some kind of anonymous.
Yeah.
Fernando Alonso had a DNF.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. We didn't talk about him. So he had a moment where he went over the curb.
Yeah.
And it messed up his suspension. And so he, like, you can see they even slow mode that moment where he's like over the curb.
Oh, yeah, and it was done.
And they were saying there was in order for that hitting the curb and riding the curb like that to basically break his suspension, it probably already had damage from something else.
Yeah.
There's probably already some sort of crack or something, because they're like, these cars can get a little bit banged up and still be okay.
Yeah.
So for it to completely break the suspension like that, there is probably some damage already.
Yeah, that was just very disappointing.
Yeah.
Hate to see Alonso not in the race. So that was not great. I'm trying to think, was there? Yeah, it was Lawson and Yuki. But, I mean, they continued the race. So it was just, I don't know. There were like moments, but nothing really came of them.
Similar to the beginning of the race. It was like kind of seemingly exciting, but it didn't really ultimately change anything.
No. I mean, I was disappointed with the Ferrari pace because I thought that they seemed kind of promising. And then, Lewis did fairly well at the start, gained some positions. And then, but it just was kind of, both of them are sort of anonymous towards the end.
I'm kind of happy it was a shorter race. Like, it was only a little over an hour. Wasn't the full hour and a half I'm used to. So we wrapped it up pretty quick.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, that's fixing to be what happens here.
Yeah.
Well, since we've pretty much covered all the big parts,
we're like, what else can we possibly talk about? Let's Google some more.
You know what? That's fine. So we will talk about our rookie. So we will get into our rookie report. Kimi Antonelli, he qualified 7th and he finished 9th. So 2 points.
Woo!
Antonelli's home race in Italy started poorly with heavy wheel spin that dropped him down the order. He recovered with some solid overtakes and showed some good pace on the medium tire, but his battle with Albon for 7th went wrong. He was penalized for forcing Albon off, which dropped him from P8 to P9 at the flag. Despite the setback, it was still his best finish since Canada in June, and he took positives from improved qualifying and overall pace. So he did better, but we can do better than that, Kimi.
Yeah.
Isaac Hadjar, he qualified 16th and he finished 10th, so 1 point. Hadjar started from the pit lane after taking a newer power unit and ran the hard tires. The strategy did pay off. He avoided the chaos around him and he showed strong pace in clear air and climbed steadily through the field. He finished in the points, turning a frustrating qualifying into a rewarding recovery drive. Yeah, neither of the Racing Bulls did well in qualifying. So, not a good qualifying session for either. Franco Colapinto, he qualified 18th and he finished 17th, so no points. It was a pretty tough weekend for Alpine and Colapinto, who lacked pace throughout. He ran a conventional medium tire strategy, but locked up and ran wide at one stage, ultimately finishing 17th. Despite the struggles, he focused on gaining experience and preparing for better results in the coming races. So, like we said, hate to sound ugly, but pretty unremarkable.
Damn. Unremarkable. I have no remarks.
Yeah.
No remarks to be made.
Anonymous. Sorry, bud. Ollie Behrman, he qualified 11th and he finished 12th, so no points. Behrman showed aggression in the midfield fight but overstepped when battling Carlos Sainz. After being passed on the straight, he dived down the inside and contact sent both into a spin. The incident earned him a 10-second penalty and 2 more penalty points on his license, leaving him just 2 shy of a race ban. Without the clash, he felt points had been possible. So, Ollie got to watch it. Gabriele Bortoleto, he qualified 8th and he finished 8th, so 4 points.
Yay!
Bortoleto delivered another strong performance, scoring his 3rd points finish in the last 4 races. He defended well against Alonso early on, only losing out to him in the pit stops and came home 8th. Despite a slightly slow stop, it was a consistent and productive weekend that added more valuable points for both him and the team. Liam Lawson, he qualified 20th and he finished 14th, so 0 points.
Wah, wah, wah.
Lawson started from the back and took a gamble on soft tires, but the strategy didn't come together. He tangled with Tsunoda midway through the race and later got stuck behind cars on fresher tires, which cost him a shot at points. Despite the pace in the car, he left Italy empty-handed and frustrated, determined to bounce back in Baku. And we move on to our favorite rookie, Fernando Alonso. He qualified 9th and he did not finish the race. He has a DNF, so no points. Yeah. Alonso was running strongly and jumped Bortoleto in the pit stops with a perfectly timed strategy, but his race ended in disappointment when a suspension failure forced him to retire. It marks his 4th DNF of the season, a tough blow after showing competitive pace and a real chance of points. So, disappointing, but it's all right, Alonso. You'll get it.
Every weekend, you'll get him next time.
You'll get him. We believe in you. You're going to get that podium.
Mm-hmm.
So we can move on to our best and worst segment.
My driver today is Max Verstappen.
So is mine. Sorry.
I'm like, get it out first. Get it, let me spit it out. Spit it out.
Obviously, has to be Max.
Oh, yeah, for sure. There's no other option.
No.
There's no other choice. No one else really did enough
No.
with their drive to qualify for driver of the day. I mean, he's just super Max.
Exactly. He's super Max.
He's the do. Like,
I mean, he made Italy go do. Like you could hear through the TV. So
I wonder if he ever is like, I got my own song in there. It's like my theme song, or if he just is always kind of a little like uncomfortable by it. It feels awkward.
He secretly has to love it, right?
A little bit. Like maybe it could get a little annoying or like a little like, okay, you just kind of got to let people be excited and have their moment to do the thing, but you're kind of just like, okay, do we really have to do the whole?
Nah, he's gotta love it.
Well, if you're just walking down the street trying to go to dinner and then people are doing at you, but then there's a little part of you that's kind of like, that's right.
You're like, yeah,
that's my song. You know who I am.
Exactly. My biggest letdown is Alonso's DNF. So Aston Martin let me down. Not really, because nobody really let me down per se of like, I mean, yeah, Kimi got a penalty. Ollie got a penalty.
That suspension cracking in half.
But that was a disappointment.
I don't even know if a suspension can crack in half. I don't know.
It failed.
Yeah.
So
it just broke.
It broke. So yeah, that's my biggest letdown is Alonso's DNF.
My biggest letdown is McLaren and these freaking Papaya rules. Again, we already talked about you can kind of, with their rule for Lando and Oscar to swap places back, you can kind of make the argument and see it from either side. I'm just annoyed that we're put in this position with these two drivers to begin with. And I get there's a certain level of harmony you have to keep within the team. And really, with this sort of call, no one's really happy all the way around.
No.
And I get it was just an unfortunate pit stop. It happens.
Yeah.
But I'm cutthroat when it comes to being competitive and competition, because if I'm Oscar, I'm a little more of the Max Verstappen school of thought of like, fuck you. No. It's part of the race. Slow pit stops happen. If I was an opponent, like, this would not be like even a question. Like, what are we talking about here?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're on the receiving end, no matter what, you're going to feel that way, you know. But if it's the other way around, you're surely going to be like, give it back.
Yeah, I
earned it the entire time. Give it back.
It's not my fault.
Yeah, so it's
But then when Oscar, they made the same argument on the F1 TV broadcast, where Oscar got that unfair, what he deemed as an unfair penalty with the safety car. It was the race where it was raining, and he got the safety car for unsafe driving. Do you remember?
Yeah.
When Max was like behind him, and there was the restarts and everything, and Oscar got that penalty, and Oscar was like, I feel like that's unfair.
But I don't know that's really comparable, because it's like that wasn't anything McLaren did. Like the team on the pit wall or the mechanics, I mean, that was still Oscar behind the wheel.
Yeah, but it was
still a choice he made to do. Whether now, you know, and there's really nothing that like anybody, you could argue with the stewards about it, I guess. But like, unfortunately, most of the time when those calls are made. So it's kind of like, I don't know that it's directly comparable to this.
No.
Yeah.
It's a complete, but it's the sentiment of like, where do you draw the line? At what point, like, how are we determining, like, when is a case when you can apply these sort of fairness rules and enforcing team orders for people to swap positions?
Mm-hmm.
Where's the line? When do we draw the line? And Andrea Stella did a post-race interview where they kind of asked him, you know, what's going on with that? And he did say, you know, just to be very clear, our decision today has nothing to do with the last race or decisions that were made in the previous race. We take it on a race-by-race basis and a case-by-case basis.
Yeah.
And basically, we decide in the moment what we think is the best call for the team. And that's what happened today. And he's like, you know, it's an unfortunate scenario. No one likes it when we have to do things like this, but it is what it is, basically. Yeah. And so, again, I get it, but I'm a very competitive person. And a part of me is kind of like, fuck you, I'm not giving the place back from Oscar. Again, I get it. I get that he's like, there's a certain point where you have to be a team player. This is your boss telling you to do something, and it is your job to do what your boss says. I get it, but I'm just so competitive. I'm like, no, I want the win. It's mine. Even though it wasn't a win, it was for P2. Yeah. But I'm like, no, it's mine.
No, I mean, yeah. I mean, if you're Oscar, you're going to feel that way. If you're Lando, I mean, there's three perspectives, you know? There's the team perspective of how do I handle this or how do we handle this? Then there's Oscar's perspective and Lando's. And I'm like, I think overall, I think they handled it the best way they could have handled it. I think it was the safest way to handle it. I think that it just was what it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it sucks that it even came to that.
I wonder if any other teams would do something similar, like make a similar call or institute this sort of policy about the team harmony kind of vibe. And the reason I ask is because McLaren is in a unique scenario where I think pretty much every other team has a very clear number one and number two driver. And McLaren has stated, and Zach Brown has stated, and Andrea Stella has stated multiple times, they do not have a number two driver. They have two number one drivers, and they will support both to the best of their ability.
Yeah.
But only one can win the driver championship. So, but yeah, I wonder if any other teams would ever do something like this in this scenario with their two drivers.
I don't know. I mean, I do think it's easy to criticize. Like, it'd be very easy for other team principals and other teams to criticize them and have an opinion when they're not in that position.
Oh, yeah. When it's like you don't have two number one drivers. Because, I mean, I get and kind of agree with McLaren when it comes to, like, they do have two number one drivers. Yeah, like, there's in no scenario, looking at the way the two drivers have performed over the last two seasons, or even just this season, you cannot tell me who's number one and who's number two. You could not pick.
No.
Because on any given day, it could be either one of them that's coming in first for a race. So I completely agree with their perspective on that for their team and their driver lineup. But yeah, it is hard. It would be hard to give any sort of comparable answer if you're a team principal and you clearly have, like, we're looking at, go down the teams. We've got Red Bull. Max Verstappen is clearly their number one driver. Yuki Tsunoda is number two. We've got Mercedes. George Russell is clearly their number one driver. Kimi Antonelli is a rookie and way too young. He is not ready to be a number one driver. We've got Kik Sauber.
I was going to say, you know, the team that we're not going to name is Ferrari.
Yeah.
Because we're like, they haven't really been in a position to have to establish who a number one and number two is.
Oh,
even though, like, I don't know. I think if Lewis is ahead, I think Ferrari is going to be fair weather if whoever's just doing the best at the time.
I think Ferrari is too scared to say who their number one driver is.
They should be.
Because no one wants to have to tell Lewis Hamilton that he's the number two driver on their team this season. And I can say that, I say this season, not just because I love Charles Leclerc and that's my guy, that's my driver. I'm not just saying that because I'm biased. I'm saying it because he, as we talked about earlier in the season, he has an established presence within that team. He's helped guide that team. And the car that they're currently in, he's had the biggest part in developing as coming from a driver perspective. So like he, to me, would be the clear number one, especially because this is Lewis's first year with Ferrari. It's his first time being with a team other than Mercedes in over a decade. It's a whole, he's still adjusting. So it wouldn't, to me, be a knock on Lewis whatsoever to say that this season, Charles is their number one and Lewis is their number two, and we're going to do what we can to support Charles. However, who wants to be the one, who on Ferrari's team is going to go up to a 7-time, almost 8-time, we'll say 8-time world champion Lewis Hamilton? No hate on Max whatsoever.
No.
But who wants to go up to 7-time world champion Lewis Hamilton and say, you have to sacrifice your qualifying or your race to support Charles?
Oh, yeah. And I'm like, well, I wouldn't. I'm sure that wasn't the conversation that was had when he agreed to come on in the first place. He definitely never agreed to be a number two driver.
Oh, for sure. And I have no doubt that Lewis would tell them to go shove it where the sun doesn't shine.
Oh, for sure.
In no uncertain terms.
And I mean, I think Lewis is a team player. I think that, know, at the end of the day. But I think what somebody said this once as well, and it's no knock on Charles, it's no knock on Ferrari, but obviously that car has been developed mostly, you could say, by Charles. It's not a number one car.
No.
So why'd you brought Lewis in to help you develop a number one car and to help with, however, the structure of the team and everything like that, because something's not working. So it's like, and to me, Ferrari isn't even really had to establish, that's not even the conversation. When we speak about Mercedes, we're saying George Russell's the number one driver and Kimi's the number two, but there's really been no debate. It's never had to be a conversation because we're just like, well, he's a rookie. It's whatever.
It's a very clear power and experience bound. Like one has more than the other. It's just very, it's numbers, it's facts, it's statistical. It's not like we're weighing one against the other and kind of coming up. It's very clearly weighted in one's favor.
Red Bull's the same way. Racing Bulls, I don't know that they'd say they have a number one driver. They just have a driver who's clearly outperforming the other one. Now, granted, whether a lot of time, we're not really, even, with McLaren, right? There's not a lot of instances where other teams are having to have this internal struggle within each other of having to have those hard conversations, because even if the teammates are in the top 10, there's not really a fight there. I mean, it's come up a few times, but even then, George had to let Kimi pass it one time not too long ago. And then, they've told, Lewis to swap. They've told Charles to swap. I mean, it's been I think that nobody else has really been having to, even if you have a strong number one, number two, but no one's in that contention for the drivers or the constructors at this point, like the actual championship. So it's just kind of like McLaren's in a very unique situation that I don't know that anybody is even close to.
Yeah. I mean, I'm even just looking at the driver standings and comparing where teammates are in relation to each other in the standings and the number of points they've scored. I mean, you have Oscar and Lando obviously in 1 and 2. You have Charles and Lewis in 5 and 6.
Yeah.
Oscar and Lando are separated by 30 something points. Charles and Lewis are at 5 and 6. They're separated by like almost 50 points.
Yeah.
It's about 45 or so. But then you look at like teammates that are actually closer in points, but their standings are so different because you hit a certain point in the standings where like every single point matters.
Yes.
Because even just think when we're talking about Racing Bulls, even when you're looking at,
because technically you could argue they have 2 rookies on the team.
Yeah. So you have Isaac in 9th in the driver standings with 38 points. Liam Lawson's all the way down in 15th. So that's a 6th place difference in the standings. but he's got 20 points. That's only an 18-point difference. That's one race.
Mm-hmm.
And there, Liam, if he does phenomenally well in one race, he's made up all the points.
Yeah.
That probably will not happen in one race, but Brazil.
Never know.
I mean, look at
You
Brazil
never know.
2024. That was weird. We had 2 Alpines on the podium.
You never know, yeah.
You never know. But I mean, it's a case of like every single point matters when you get lower. And so it can be a little more comparable when we're talking about kind of the lower
the midfield teams.
I was like, what is the word for the teams?
Yeah.
Not at the top. So the mid and lower field teams. But just thinking of like the other teams, we have Kick Sauber, we have Nico and Gabrielle. I would probably still say Nico would be their number 1 driver, but just based on experience.
Yeah.
And just because
when you have he's like the lead driver.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not a number 1, but the lead, the more the senior driver who
I don't think Kick Sauber okay, that was gonna sound really mean. I mean like Kick Sauber, they're not really in that position to have to establish. Like, they're just kind of happy to be in the points, no matter who it is.
Yeah.
But based on experience, I would say, lead.
Yeah.
Lead driver.
I mean, we've got Alpine with Pierre and Franco.
Pierre's definitely the lead driver or number 1 driver for sure.
At Haas.
Who just re-signed his contract with them.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's some news we didn't talk about. Pierre Gasly. We have barely mentioned him this episode, but
unremarkable.
Yeah, he signed to extend to 2028, I believe, which great.
Yeah.
Good on him. He's sticking it out with the French team.
He's trying.
Yeah, he's doing what he can over there, which, I mean, again, we said in previous episodes with Pierre, he had moments late last season, early this season where you're like, okay, Pierre, I see you. We're trying to make something happen, and then it just kind of all
falls apart.
But I'm trying to think of I just kind of want to go through all the teams and see if anyone's comparable to McLaren. But there's Haas with Oliver Behrman and Esteban Ocon. Again, Esteban's just sort of the senior driver in that position.
Yeah.
Just having more experience. We have so many rookies this season.
But
jeez,
nobody's really in the same
Williams.
position. Yeah, but
Alex and Carlos.
Yeah, that would be a similar situation because they're sort of just there to help develop, and Alex has been there longer.
They actually might be the most comparable to Ferrari's situation.
I would say I would agree.
But even in that case, they've had Alex and Carlos swap places this race. They issued team orders, and Carlos was putting up a little bit of a fight over the radio of saying come on, guys, I think there's still more that I can do in this race, basically. And the team was like, swap places. We think Alex has better pace. And Alex did have better pace.
It is what it is.
You could argue that because they swapped places, Carlos was then in a position where he had contact and was having all these issues. And that then put him way further down the standings of finishing the race. But
yeah, but I mean, even before the contact happened, I mean, well, when did that happen? Because I mean, Behrman, because Behrman, when they swapped positions, he would have been directly behind Albon. And he was trying to pass Behrman at that time.
Well, they finished 17th and 18th. Oliver and Carlos finished 17th.
So I think they must have swapped places, and then later that happened.
Well, that's what I'm saying,
right?
Though.
Or maybe it was the pit stop thing. But yeah,
but that's what I'm saying is that because you could argue that because they swapped places, then Carlos fell further back and then was in a position that caused the contact and
if he had the better pace, he wouldn't have.
Yeah, that's true.
But we have 2 weeks?
Yeah.
So we have a free weekend this coming weekend, and then the weekend after that, we are going to be at Baku. So we can go ahead and get into our next race teaser. This is going to be round 17, which is the Formula One Qatar Airways Azerbaijan Grand Prix at the Baku City Circuit. So last year's main results were Oscar Piastri, Charles Leclerc, and George Russell. So here are some track stats. It is a relatively new circuit. It was introduced in 2016. It has 51 laps. The circuit length is about 6 kilometers, which is about 3.7 miles. The race distance is 306 kilometers, which is about 190 miles. I'm rounding, whatever. The race lap record and the qualifying lap record are held by the same person. So the race lap record is held by Charles Leclerc, which he set in 2019 at 1 minute and 43.009 seconds. The qualifying lap record, which is also set by Charles Leclerc in 2023, it is 1 minute and 40.203 seconds. So he performs well here, it seems. And it has 2 DRS zones. So what is this track like? First of all, it's a street circuit. We know the drivers sometimes they love them, sometimes they hate them. I think a lot of them aren't huge fans of street circuits, but sorry about it.
Some of them are specialists.
Yes, some of them are specialists. So Baku offers kind of a unique mix. It does have the longest straight on the calendar for like flat out slipstream battles, followed by a very narrow technical section that punishes mistakes. So, this is going to be a really interesting track to watch the rookies at because it is going to punish you with any sort of mistake because you're going to be into a barrier. So teams are going to face a constant trade-off between straight line speed and cornering grip. So what's going to matter more to you? So, we're leaving a track that is iconic and is the fastest on the calendar, but now we're going to a track that has the longest straight on the whole calendar.
That's a very odd shape.
Yeah.
It's like got almost like a rectangle on one end of it.
Yeah. And so the tire strategy here, they are bringing back the C6, which they introduced this year. We had it at Imola, we had it at Monaco, super, super soft. So we're going to have the C4, the C5, and the C6. So this will be a different set of compounds than they've ever had at this track before, because like we said, the C6 was just introduced this year. Strategy-wise, Baku is usually a one-stop because it has low tire degradation. Though safety cars often shake things up. There are safety cars here. But along with safety cars, there's also a lot of overtakes. That's always the most important question. The most important question is, can we overtake here? Yes. Baku is one of the best overtaking tracks in Formula One with its massive main straight and back-to-back DRS zones, setting up plenty of slipstream battles and late braking into turn one. So we're going to see a lot of overtaking. We're more than likely going to see safety cars because it is a punishing track, and I would almost guarantee some of our rookies will crash out. I wouldn't be surprised if they crashed out during practice. I mean, we'll see. So it's going to be a very punishing race.
It's going to be very tempting for them to just go flat out fully on those straights, and especially that long straight.
Yeah.
So then they might not break in time. Ooh.
But plus two, it can just get so narrow and the walls are right there and there's nowhere for you to go.
Oh, yeah, that's true. It's the street.
That's the problem. So there's not a lot of runoff area. So we will see how it goes. But with that being said, we will talk at you in 2 weeks. Let us know your driver of the day, your biggest letdown, and any predictions going into Baku. Bye.
Bye.